The next big EA Star Wars game was officially unveiled today at Star Wars Celebration, with EA announcing some major details for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. For those unaware, Jedi Fallen Order is being developed by Respawn Entertainment, the same guys who brought you the Titanfall series and most recently Apex Legends. And they now ventured to the Star Wars universe and will be bringing us a brand new canon story in the form of a single-player action-adventure game. The story of Jedi Fallen Order takes place after Order 66, during the Dark Times, which is the height of the Galactic Empire, with players taking control of a Padawan named Cal Kestis, who's one of the last surviving members of the Jedi Order. Cal is portrayed by actor Cameron Monaghan, who's also well known for his role as Jerome Valeska and Joker on Gotham. Cal will also carry a blue damaged and storied lightsaber, which is said to be very intimately tied to the story. Unfortunately, Respawn refrained from revealing too much about it due to stating how the lightsaber's backstory contains many spoilers for the game's story, and will likely wait closer to the game's release before saying anything more about it. But they did hint that the lightsaber isn't originally Cal's, and during the course of the game it will grow and evolve, which in many respects is a reflection of Cal. Another detail regarding Cal is that he's living in hiding and a member of the Scrapper Guild, which is an organization active during the early Imperial era that scrapped capital ships from the Clone Wars, and was located in the mid-rim planet of Baraka. There, Cal helps the guild by tearing apart derelict starships, mostly decommissioned old capital ships like Republic Venators as seen in a trailer, with the work being described as incredibly hard and dangerous, which often sees regular casualties in its workforce. Since the activation of Order 66, the Dark Times are said to have shaped Cal a lot as an individual. He's learned to keep his head down, holding himself back from getting involved with the world around him. He can't trust anyone of the secrets he carries due to the fear that he could endanger them. But eventually, Cal does get involved and puts the Inquisition on his trail, which is where the majority of the story of Jedi Fallen Order will be, as Cal will have to face the trauma of his past, learn to trust in his new allies and in the Force. If the Order is to ever rise again, Cal must persist through failure and adapt to a new understanding of what it means to be a Jedi. But Cal won't be traveling in this journey alone, as he will have a small droid joining him called BD-1. Respawn internally actually call it Buddy Droid 1, which is exactly what it's said to be for Cal, a buddy, a companion. Although Respawn did stress that they don't consider BD as a sidekick to Cal either, but more so as a close friend, with the two seeing each other as equals. Now, seeing as Jedi Fallen Order takes place during the Dark Times, one of BD's functions in the game is to act as a spotlight, which is just one of the many useful tools BD has that players will be able to find and upgrade over the course of the game. In terms of game mechanics, BD will serve as a sort of a backpack companion droid, kind of like how Dio was for Iden Versio in Battlefront 2, where it was really useful in helping her for the first two missions. Of course, she didn't feel any feelings for it like Cal will for BD, but I'm only making a comparison here in terms of game mechanics alone. And it sounds like Respawn will go a lot more deeper into BD than Motive did for Dio. And it's also interesting to note that BD will also be voiced by the legendary Ben Burtt, who, if you don't know, is the sound designer for the original and prequel trilogies. Another character we may get to know quite a little bit in the game should be Cere, who's described as a former Jedi Knight that takes on the role of mentor for Cal in the Scrappers Guild, but of course not in the traditional Jedi Knight mentorship that we all know. And it's possible that Cere may not even want to talk about or have anything to do with their Jedi past. Either way, it does bring up some interesting opportunities down the line in the story. The main villain, as far as we know in the story, will be the Second Sister, who is a female Inquisitor that served under Darth Vader. While there isn't too much known about the Second Sister right now, as Respawn stated that they will talk more about her at a later date, but for the time being have said that she is exceptionally intelligent and quite clever. And it should also be noted that the Second Sister has actually already appeared in canon, making her first appearance back in Darth Vader number 19 of the Marvel Comics, and in the 2018 reference book Star Wars The Dark Side by Tricia Barr. We will of course learn more about her in the game, but there are currently some rumors going around that she's actually Barriss Offee under the mask, which would be intriguing seeing as we still don't know what happened to Barriss in canon. And I don't know, I think I'd be pretty fine of her being Barriss. But the second sister won't be the only foe that Cal will have to avoid, as along with dealing with regular stormtroopers, Cal will also be forced to come face to face with Inquisitor troopers, which were Imperial clones that served under the command of both Darth Vader and the Inquisitors. They're a special type of trooper that are said to be airdropped to soften up the Jedi before the Inquisitors come in to finish the job, which makes a lot of sense when you consider their helmets resemble really closely to that of the Clone Trooper Paratrooper helmet. And I actually did a whole entire Star Wars Declassified video covering the Inquisitor troopers, going over everything we currently know about them in the canon. So if you want to learn more about them, then check out that video. However, the Inquisitor troopers here are called Purge troopers, which at this time right now canonically doesn't make too much sense, seeing as Purge troopers in canon already exist and they don't look like Inquisitor troopers like at all. So I'm curious to see if this will be explained in some way during the game, or maybe the Purge troopers are just a different branch of the Inquisitor troopers and use the same armor. Hard to say at this point. Now, the Jedi Fallen Order presentation at Star Wars Celebration really mainly focused on the story elements of the game. Unfortunately, we weren't shown any gameplay footage or even told how the game will play. So for that part, we'll be using information that was leaked from a game dev in order to cover those details. But rest assured, these leaks are confirmed to be real, and that's seeing as the other half of the material the game dev leaked has already come true as of today. And it's all things that only someone working from the inside would know. So with that said, the gameplay of Jedi Fallen Order is said to be compared to that of Dark Souls, and being good at parry like in Sekiro will help, as you'll feel like a Jedi. In the game, you'll go from planet to planet, and while it won't be completely linear, it also won't be an open world either, as each time you enter an area, you'll need to explore it in trying to continue the narrative. As for planets, Respawn said that Cal will not only visit new and never before seen planets created just for the game, but we'll get to see some old familiar locations as well. Cal will also be able to find new items on each planet that he can use to upgrade either himself, like his lightsaber, or on BD. Wall running and parkour is also said to be part of the game, and it will resemble that of the Jedi Knight games and Force Unleashed, with a bit of an Uncharted and God of War flavor to it. But at the same time, no, there won't be any Force spamming like in Force Unleashed, as you kind of want to avoid using the Force as much as possible in this kind of game. As for game time, Jedi Fallen Order is said to be much longer than 5 hours, which doesn't tell us too much other than it just won't be a short game that we can beat in like 4 hours or so. Furthermore, the game will be a single player only experience, and run on the Unreal Engine 4, and not on Frostbite like majority of EA's other games. It also won't contain any microtransactions of any kind, at least not on release. Finally, Jedi Fallen Order will be available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC this holiday season on November 15, 2019. Expect to see and hear more about Jedi Fallen Order this summer come EA Play, as that's where we'll most likely get to see some actual gameplay footage for the first time. And be sure to stick around this channel for the latest on all Jedi Fallen Order news and leaks. But yeah, let me know what you all think about the game so far. Do you like the sound of it, or are you a little bit disappointed? I already know about some folks who aren't too thrilled to hear about the resemblance to Dark Souls, mainly because they aren't big fans of those games. Then again, people who do love those type of games along with Star Wars will definitely eat this one up. I personally love what I'm hearing for the story so far, but if I'm being honest, I think I'm going to need some gameplay footage first before I'm completely sold on it. Now, of course, I'm going to play it because I'm a canon lore junkie, but I really hope the general gameplay of it all will be fun. I mean, I love playing through the Battlefront 2 single-player campaign just for the canon stuff, but the actual gameplay started to get boring about halfway through, and I saw myself forcing through the game just to see the ending, which I don't want that to be the case here. I want an engaging and immersive experience within the Star Wars galaxy, with gameplay mechanics evolving throughout the way that will not only rely on the canon story in keeping me interested during play. Which yeah, that may be a lot to ask for, but let's also be real here, Jedi Fallen Order had so much more game development time than the Battlefront games did. So based on that alone, there's a lot of pressure for Respawn to deliver here. And from what we've seen so far and heard about the game, then I think they have a chance to pull it off. Although I'm pretty thrilled to see the Imperial Stormtroopers back in a major Star Wars game once again. I know some people were hoping for clone troopers, but at this point in the timeline, they aren't around anymore. The Empire transitioned to stormtroopers and stopped cloning altogether. So some people, mainly the prequel fans, may not like that. As always, let me know in the comments down below. But for all your Star Wars news, keep it here to Silo. This is N7 from Silo, signing off.